Yeah, it's what I'm struggling the most is with the not knowing how long it's gonna take. We don't have an exact date where we come back onto the pitch, so it's hard to manage this in our mind. But we gotta look at the positive thing is that we have more time to think in our own things. What do we like? Where do we aim to go? So you have more time to make a good plan in your mind. And then of course physically you have to work alone. It's really hard for us, as Felix said, because we always train as a team. You always have 15 or 18 players more than can push you forward. But well, today we have to do more like a tennis player, and it depends on you and only in you. So it's also can make you stronger in your mindset.
And maybe an interesting story about a swimmer in Belgium. He said if the games are going to be postponed for a year, he said he would struggle to continue for one more year because obviously it's always swimming on himself, being at the pool at 6 in the morning and the night. I think that's pretty tough. And what is really nice about hockey is that actually at the end of the day, it's fun. So somebody asked me, what do you really miss? What's the first thing you're going to do when the lockdown is over? And I said, yeah, I can't wait to go back on a pitch with the team to have fun, because at the end of the day, that's also the passion we have. And that's also something you realize in this period.
Okay, super. Yeah, indeed. I think that's a really important point, obviously. And that's one of the greatest things about hockey. Can you take us through the life skills and the holistic plan?
Yeah, so I talked about performance and development stage, but there is also uptown and downtown time, I think. So uptime for me is really be 100% focused on hockey. Everything you do is hockey. But for example, a post-Olympic year is often a year where you can invest in yourself. I think what is really important as a player as well is to develop yourself as a person next to the pitch. Because I believe if you're a better person next to the pitch, you will also perform better as an athlete. And for me here, just before the Rio Olympics, I said finish study before Rio to be really clear in the head. And in one of my action points, I had to finish 12,000 words before the EHL. So it was an action point I made that most of the part of my thesis had to be finished before the money time of the season and the last period before the Olympics. Okay. So I'm sure Abby and Lucas, you're also investing in other things except hockey to freshen up the mind sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's always important because then, you can get to even a period like this, and if you only have hockey, then I think you can end up a bit lost. And I think if you're only focusing on hockey, then a lot of I found a lot of my mood is then determined by my hockey. So if I, for say, have a bad training and that's all that I'm supposed to do that day, then I'm going to feel like I had an awful day just because I'm putting so much pressure on that one thing. So I think it's really important to have a good balance so you can enjoy your hockey as well and use it as it's not just always your work and always something you have to be super strict and focused on. It should also be enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Totally agree.
Okay, Felix. Sorry, Lucas, don't want to cut you off there. Felix, what we're going to do is we're going to step on. We're going to open up now to a few questions just to get the idea of the Digital Hub is really to get a chance for everybody to interact. By the way, everyone here, you can follow Felix, Abby, and Lucas on their Instagram channels, and you can send them a DM, a message, and if you have any questions on the plan, then you can also ask them after then. Of course, you can also follow Osaka World if you're not already doing so. But it's important as well that we can relate these plans to today and to helping everybody get to set some goals. So we're going to open up some questions. So if anyone has any questions that they want to fire to Felix, Abby, or Lucas, please, now is the time. LP. Louis Philippe, you're muted, I think. Can you go ahead?
Can I unmute him? Yeah.
Does anybody want to ask any questions? Can we unmute people?
There you go.
Okay.
Ask questions if you want.
Okay, it might be easy if we ask everybody to raise your hand, or if you want to raise a question, and then Felix is going to pick through everybody.
I don't want to.
Niels, you want to ask something?
Yes, I'm first of all, thanks a lot for enabling this this great call. I'm sitting here with my 12-year-old son, so he wants to stay fit also during this staying at home and lockdown here in Belgium. And I'm just raising a question for him. He can follow most of it, but it's not fluent yet in English. So one of his questions is, because he's doing the strokes for the short corner, and his question to you guys as specialists is how can he improve on that, and what can he do at home to train on that?
Yeah, for me, obviously a bit is just the same path in every technique, is that you first have to master the technical side. And I think the more you train, the better you'll get at that. And I think once you're up there in a game, it's about confidence. So you have to know that once you go up there, that there is a possibility to miss, but you take your responsibility. And I think for me personally, it helps when you think about it before you go up there. So that you just make a decision and just go for the corner you want to go for, and just go at 100%. One interesting anecdote maybe is often that's a pressure situation, and often a lot of things travel through your mind at that moment. Together with Florent Van Obel, for example, we thought about it. What is the best thing to think about at a moment like that? It's actually something really basic, something that makes you happy, something that relieves pressure. And I heard from somebody as well, your body cannot be stressed and tensed and at the same time relaxed. So if you smile in a stressed situation, it could relieve the stress a bit.
Wie hoeft niet een beetje te wachten? Ik zet altijd gewoon iedereen.
Ja, dus aan iets moois denken, geen stress en een keuze maken, verantwoordelijkheid nemen.
Ja, juist. And maybe it's also an interesting thing about this hub is that hockey is very international. And today we're doing it in English, but Lucas will be able to do it in Spanish, for example. I can do some classes in Dutch, French, and Abby can also do it in English, obviously. So the idea is to be able to connect with players also in different languages in the future.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Very welcome.
My pleasure.
Any other questions to come in? Yeah, I see him with his Atlas stick, Uncle Ed. Hold on. Can we hear
sweet. Yeah, g'day. Felix, I've got a question for you, obviously. Back in the day when you were a bit younger, how did you go playing in another country, like when you were starting out? Did you ever travel when you were a bit younger and play, like, say, in the Netherlands or something like that?
Yeah, good question. So actually, I played all my life at Dragons. So I started at this club, and I've been lucky actually that the environment was pretty good for me. So what I always try to do is try to find an environment that matches your goals. So for me, it was important to play with top class players. And when I was very young, Steven was a legend at Dragons. So he was one of the best players of Ireland coming to Dragons. So you had also different cultures coming in. You had players from the Netherlands, and actually it was quite international. So I was able to progress in an environment where hockey was important and where I felt I was able to develop myself enough. So did I ever thought about doing another experience? Obviously I did, but like I said, I'm a Dragons kid and I love my club. And for me, I received so much from the club that at a certain time I felt I had to give something back as well. And I hope I'm doing that now. So what Steven did for me when I was younger, I try to do now for the younger guys coming through, and hope that way I can kind of leave a legacy.
Maybe it's good. Maybe it's good, Ed, if we ask that question to Lucas. Lucas is currently playing in Germany.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, I'm just asking because before the coronavirus came in, I was actually planning on heading to the Netherlands and joining in their summer season, but obviously can't do that right now. So it'd be good to know. Yeah, please, Lucas.
Lucas, you've played in many clubs, so maybe you can tell Ed about your experience.
Yeah, I was in the same situation as you when I was 18, 19 years old. When I finished my secondary studies here in Buenos Aires, I had to make a choice, either to go to the university here in Buenos Aires or to follow my goals and my dream that was to play in Europe. So I tried to combine it some way to where I go to play hockey. I have to do also something beside that with my studies. So I went to, first of all, I went to Holland, and together with my hockey, I followed some courses in graphic design. So I was doing both things. I was playing hockey, but also I was developing in the way I could my studies, and follow also the university online to Buenos Aires somehow.
Right.
It will take longer, but
yeah. Can we just ask a follow-up question on that? How did you go from being in Argentina to then knowing someone in Holland? Is that through your coaches?
No, I think it's maybe through another player that he's already in Holland in a club. You can ask him and he can recommend you. Or when you are international, it's a bit easier because all the clubs maybe know you. But when you are not, you can contact some players and ask about the club, the way they train, the way they manage things. And if it matches the club that you would like to play, then you have to start talking with the club.
I think Ed, there's also a platform, Scored Hockey, and I think you can put your profile up there if you're looking for some clubs. The best thing, what I've noticed from all the players is, first thing is to focus on your game, get your game noticed, and then that's how you get Lucas. I think he's one of the best players in the world. But there was a lot of clubs that were really interested in him from that point of view. But otherwise, you can try out on Scored. I think Scored Hockey, you can put your profile up for clubs in Europe that are if you're looking to come and play. But it's a fantastic experience to be able to play away. Yeah, to play the sport awesome. You love in Europe, it's a fantastic experience. So
of course, yeah, that's the goal.
Are you from Australia?
Yeah, from Australia. Yeah, I've played in a few competitions around the country, and my next goal is to play somewhere international.
Super cool, man. You just need a new stick, eh?
I know the guy who makes these. So I like Felix is loyal to his club. I'm loyal to my brand.
That's really cool to hear, man. That's really cool to hear. We respect that. Is there?
Thanks, guys.
Question. Any other questions from anyone, from Felix, Lucas, or Abby? Yeah, okay. Jonathan, hold on, we unmute. Oh, wait, go ahead.
Okay, great. Oh, first of all, thanks very much. This is a great innovation. Fantastic that new things are coming out of this difficult time. And thanks to Lucas and Felix and Abby, great contributions. I'm here with Freddie, who's the hockey player. And our question is about recovery. Didn't happen. I mean, there's lots of things to mention. It wasn't mentioned during the physical element. But Felix, perhaps if you could just tell us about maybe specific recovery plans after a game and your general philosophy around how important recovery is.
Yeah. So yeah, obviously recovery is very important. I think top athletes have to be able to perform day in, day out, and that is what makes the difference with top athletes and maybe athletes that just do some sports on Sunday, then work during the day, during the whole week, and then again they have to perform on the next Sunday. So there are a lot of days in between. Whereas if you see, for example, the Olympics, you only have 10 days and you have to play 7 games, something like that. So it's very demanding on your body, and that's something that your body has to get used to. So what we try to do is work in different cycles. So we work in moderate loads, heavy loads, and try to prepare the body in the same cycle than that we're going to play at the Olympics. So what do we do specifically is ice baths, supplements, stretching, really try to loosen up the body to be able to go again the day after. I think it's super important, and I think maybe when you were younger you don't see the importance as much than we do now. But for me, it's also so important because if you get an injury, you miss out on 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks of training, and you almost start at zero again. So if you want to build your body, you have to be able to perform day in, day out, and that's why recovery is so important.
I think quickly from me that nutrition is super important after you've exercised. It's really important to get that fuel back into those muscles so they can recover properly. I think a lot of us do a lot of foam rolling. So, you know, if you notice any stiffness, that you can do some foam rolling, which is an easy at-home solution to spend some time on that.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Is there any other questions from anyone that want to pitch to these players? Anyone else? Okay, then what we're going to do is, Felix, I think, Felix, Lucas, Abby, we're going to do just a quick roundup for people. There was just a question came in via WhatsApp, and I think it's a very important point, is what are you guys doing? I think we need to spread this message. What are you guys doing to stay safe? What can you advise people for the future? There's obviously a lot of challenges that are going to come out of this, maybe like sharing water bottles. I don't know, maybe some things are going to change in the hockey community. But how are you guys staying safe at the moment?
For the moment, I obviously stay at home. I try to lead by example. I think if everybody does that, then I think together we'll be able to beat the virus as soon as possible, and hopefully get back on the pitch and play the game we love. Now we have more time than normally. So what is nice, however, is that I have a lot of time with my little daughter. So I have some family time, and on the side I try to pick up some challenges that you can also follow on my Instagram. So I try to inspire as well where I can, and try to keep playing, because in these times I think it's important to keep playing and to have fun.
Yeah, for me the same. Just making sure that I'm staying at home. Yeah, setting a good example as well. And for me, yeah, working out is something that's very important to me. So I'm still making sure that I find, or not find time to do it, but I find ways to do it at this time. And yeah, I think the fact that we don't know how long it's going to be is just mentally being prepared for that, that it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So yeah, taking each day and not feeling like I have to do everything at once, but just being prepared that this could be for a long time. So yeah, making the most of it, trying to keep positive and try things that I wouldn't normally do when I have time at home. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, also I think we have to stay at home, and for the for the young guys, I think it's also a nice time to enjoy their parents, that they're not working the whole day out of home, so you have them there, so enjoy it. And yeah, about working out, there are many things that you can look on the internet now, so just pick a few, don't try to do everything, because then you're gonna get wasted, and it's not a good thing. Just pick one or two things and work on that.
Okay, very good. You all received the draft template of the personal plan. We suggest that you guys put together some small goals and that you put it through. You can always send it through to Felix, Lucas, or Abby directly via Instagram. You can get a good connection going with them, and I'm sure that they'll be happy to help you. If there's not any other questions, I think we're going to round it up there. We do have Abby coming next on Thursday at 10 a.m. CET. I hope that's okay for you, Ed, down under, to join in.
Too early for me.
Too early for you, but to join in on a workout. And then next week, we're going to get the Osaka designers, some of the design team, telling you how we make a stick, how we get into the design philosophy, and so on. And then we're going to work from there. So any suggestions from anyone? It'd be great to have them in. It was really cool to have Felix hosting this session, and great that Lucas and Abby were there to help out as well. That's really cool. Felix, any last words that you want to say to anyone?
No, yeah, thanks for joining in. Thanks for tuning in. I think it's a really cool setup. Like I said, once you get a bit older as an athlete, you try to share your knowledge, share your experiences, because I think you are the next generation, and I hope we can help you guys becoming top athletes.
Excellent. Abby, anything to say?
Yeah, just if anyone has any questions afterwards or needs any help, I got a lot of time right now to help people. If it's about workouts or yeah, anything, no worries. Don't be shy to ask.
Okay, super. That's us closing off for today's session. Keep an eye out on the schedule. We're going to have the schedule, and we'll be sending it out over the next couple of days when we start putting stuff together. So thanks all for joining.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.